All right, in 6.4, we're going to learn about the quadratic formula. So let's say we want to solve for the equation x squared plus 7x plus 9 equals 0. So I might think about factoring this. So I would want two numbers that multiply to 9 and add up to 7. I'm going to run through my factors of 9. I have 1 and 9. That doesn't work. That doesn't add up to 7. And 3 and 3. Both of those don't work, so I kind of hit a dead end here. So what we're going to learn about today is the quadratic formula, and those are especially for equations that can't easily factor. So the quadratic formula is this. If ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 and a doesn't equal 0, then x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Now again, this equation looks kind of ugly, but it's good to use when, and again, all I do is really plug in my a, b, and c values. As long as you know what those are and you know how to find your a, b, and c values, which we've been doing a good job of so far, you just kind of plug it into this formula and it spits out your answers every time. So again, these are good to use when the quadratic equation doesn't easily factor, and overall it can seem easier than factoring because you're not guessing and checking at all. So let's start out with an easier equation. We have x squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 0. Now this equation does easily factor, and I might be thinking in the back of my head, oh, I could just rewrite that as x minus 4 times x plus 2. Therefore, my solutions would be positive 4 and negative 2. So let's keep that up there, and we'll double check using the quadratic formula, see if our answers match up. My a value here is 1, b value negative 2, my c value is negative 8. Now I have my formula, now I'm going to plug stuff in. Wherever I see an a, I'm going to replace it with 1. Wherever I see a b, I'm going to replace it with negative 2, and c will get replaced with negative 8. Now I'll start to the left there. Negative of negative 2, negative times a negative turns into a positive 2. Negative 2 squared, negative 2 times negative 2 gives you positive 4. 4 times 1 times negative 8 gives me negative 32. And 2 times 1 is 2. Now inside the square root, minus a negative turns into a positive. So 4 plus 32 gives you 36. And again, these are going to be some nice answers because 36 is a perfect square. Square root of 36 is 6. Now, dealing with this plus or minus, that's how we get two different solutions. From this step, I'm going to separate my equations. I'm going to do 2 plus 6 and 2 minus 6 divided by 2. Simplifying the first one, I get 8 over 2, which is 4. Then negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2, which, as I see there, matches up with the answers that I got with factoring. So those are my solutions, positive 4 and negative 2. Now let's look at a harder example. So we have 6x squared plus 13x equals 17. Similar to factoring, you need to get everything onto one side first, so I'm going to subtract that 17 over. Now I'm going to write down my a, b, and c values, and then again, plug them into the formula. Wherever I see an a, I'm going to replace it with 6, b is going to get replaced with 13, and c with negative 17. I'm going to simplify, and then simplify again. And then you'll notice here, 577 isn't a perfect square, so your answer is going to be a decimal. So even if I tried to, I couldn't factor that original equation, making the quadratic formula necessary here. So I'll do negative 13 plus square root of 577 and negative 13 minus square root of 577 over 12. You'll just go ahead and do this in your calculator, and you would get positive 0.918 and negative 3.085.